Welcome back to my show, y'all. As always, I hope you're doing absolutely amazing. And on this episode of Truckin' It, I'm going to be discussing hats. Hard hats, cowboy hats, baseball caps, and more. Stay tuned. It provides protection for your neck in addition to your head and your eyes. So as I quickly change back. So what kind of hat should you buy when you're at the truck stop and you're seeing this wide variety of different hats? Well, let's start with materials. I like cloth or felt hats personally. Especially in the case of ball caps, I like to have cloth on the front and the back, which means Velcro closure, and get this, I have to have my head measured for them. That's right, a proper hat is not one size fits all. This one, if you look at the inside, there's a little tag on the back. That, my friends, tells you that the hat is size 7 3/8. Now this one's a beaver blend felt hat, which means it's made from the fur of beavers. Other hats use different types of blends and materials. For you vegans out there, and I kid you not, there are some of you who don't like animal cruelty and whatever. For you, there are straw hats and cloth hats available. Straw meaning they're actually made from grass, and other materials meaning not only cloth, but also synthetic fibers. So, there's always an option for you. Now, are there any jobs that require a specific kind of hat? Well, I just demonstrated one of them, as the cowboy life and the trucking life both have similar requirements. They require a hat that protects your head and your neck. A felt hat will also provide insulating properties and will provide protection from precipitation in a limited form. So if it's drizzling out there, you don't necessarily have to worry about it. But if it's pouring rain, you're definitely going to want to wear some other form of protection, like a hood, an umbrella, or a regular ball cap like this one. Now, I just kind of cocked the ball cap a little bit, because that's the way some people wear them. I prefer a curved bill on a ball cap. Some people call them trucker hats just for that reason. If they're a flat bill, you're called a scum. But really, not that many people wear flat bills anyway, unless they're either part of a gang or they just like the look. And that's going to depend on what logo and such are on it. Another thing to consider when you're buying a hat is, does your employer have the requirements? And I'm going to mention that specifically because some employers require a separate type of hat called a hard hat. At least that's what it's called here in the United States. Other countries may call it under other names. Please check with your local country for details, and for your local employer and such. So, hard hats are typically different. Some of them look like cowboy hats, but they are made from much harder material. Others are designed to look more like a ball cap, but are made from hard plastic and then have a movable inner shell. So you've probably seen some construction workers wearing them, or perhaps seen some other workers on various job sites or at detention facilities, etc. These types of hats are typically more adjustable than a ball cap, but they're still not one size fits all, because your head will swell up if that knob is cranked too tight on the backside, and otherwise it may not fit at all. So, hard hat versus cowboy hat versus ball cap. Now, the cowboy hat is sort of a happy compromise between the two. However, unlike a hard hat, a cowboy hat will not protect your noggin from stuff flying into it. That's where the hard hat comes in. A cowboy hat does protect your noggin from falls, but only for a short distance, and it's not quite as protective as a helmet or a hard hat. So, if you work construction or if your trucking job requires it, get a hard hat. Otherwise, you've got quite a few choices to make based on how high you are off the ground, what you're riding or what you're driving, and personal preference. Not to mention that company dress code. So, let's find the right hat for you. Skip the Walmart, skip the department stores, skip the retail stores. Go to a Western wear shop or to a hat shop or somewhere where they can custom make it for you. Because cheap is not good when it comes to hats. And as proof of that, my entire studio closet is lined with the hats that I have worn over the years. If you want to see it, let me pan the camera. Then walk over and show you that the only other things besides hats are a couple Texas shirts, a Harley jacket, and some of the gear I use in the studio, which is housed in those rough coats down below and up above. It may be out of focus a little bit because I have the camera set to fixed focus on my face. I'm a pretty big dude, as you can see. So I've got the camera on a monopod for that reason, as well as to show you that sign that's behind me here. It goes without saying, in this house, whenever my friends are over, which I don't have that many friends just yet, that's just my ground rules. I do say Merry Christmas, thank you, please, sir, ma'am. One nation under God. Give thanks to our troops. And yes, I salute the Texas and American flags. If this offends you, leave a comment down below, and please stay out of my house. Or in this case, my townhome. I'm in what is normally the master bedroom. That's where I have the studio space set up. My other bedroom is just across the hall, so that's nothing for me to get to. And until next time, let's make your next trip your best trip. Let's make sure that you know what hat you need for your job. And if you have a personal preference, just make sure that we can accommodate that personal preference by making sure that you go to a place that has the right hat for you. So, now, bonus question, should you buy a hat in a truck stop? Well, if it's got a Western wear shop, you can certainly use it. But most truck stops do not have your hat in your size. So there's that. Bye for now.